Hi, welcome to another Buzzin Chat Show here on Buzzin Pattaya, and thank you very much for joining me today. Now, I would like to say a big thank you to everyone that's been sending in the emails with questions for me to go through. I've got 5 questions to go through today, and they are what would be the biggest challenge that you will face if you go back to village life with your loved one? Where do I see Thailand in 10 years time from now? What do you do if your bar fine is not interested in you when you get back to your hotel? What do I miss most from living here now 10 years for going back to my home country, to England? And why did I start YouTube? Any regrets and any advice? Yeah. We'll go through that one at the end. So, first question then, the biggest challenge you're going to face in village life. And I think a lot of the challenges will depend on you as an individual. And I say that because, let's face it, if you go back to the village, particularly like the remote areas, if it's a bigger city area, you're not really going to have a problem. But if you go back to, like, for instance, like in my area where I stay, just outside of Korat, I am the only foreigner that lives in the vicinity. So, of course, everywhere I walk, everywhere I go, particularly in the early days, it's like, wow, there's a falang here. So you have to be accepting the fact that you are going to be a novelty very, very early. As soon as you arrive there, you're going to be a novelty factor. I think the biggest challenges that you will find are probably the fact that there'll be very little, if any, English spoken, if that's your natural language. So you're going to have to kind of like think about how you're going to communicate. Hopefully, whoever you've gone back to the village with will be able to assist you with that and will be able to communicate in a better way for you. But be prepared. You know, it's quite difficult because, you know, you will sit there for, you know, any given amount of time and they will just chat and chat and chat and you'll just sit there getting, oh man, what are they saying? I don't know what to do. This is really interesting. And it happens, you know, even me, even when I go back up, I mean, I've got a reasonable hold on language in the Thai language here. You know, I'm not fluent by any means, but I've got a reasonable hold. But even I sit there and if they talk in words I don't really understand or I don't use on a day-to-day basis, I struggle as well. So you are going to have that issue that basically, you know, you are going to be a novelty and the language is going to be an issue. Also the food, okay? So to give you an example, where I stay, there are no European restaurants, there are no fast food outlets, there's none of that whatsoever. So you have to be prepared when you go up there to be able to adjust to the kind of food that you're going to eat. And, you know, to be honest with you, it's not too bad. It's mainly like rice, vegetables, chicken, pork, prawns, you know, those kind of things. So it's not really a massive issue, but it probably will be spicy. So hopefully your companion will be able to say to him, look, don't make it spicy for him unless you can deal with spicy food. But I think really they're the main things that you're going to be. You know, you are going to be a novelty. There is going to be a language barrier, and of course the food up there, there's no Farang restaurants. Having said that, you know, look at where you're going to go. You might be near a big city, you might even be in a big city. You know, you might not necessarily be out in the remote villages, in which case things will be a lot easier. But I would do a little bit of homework before you go up, simply because there's nothing worse than going up there, particularly if you're going out there for, like, you know, 3-4 days, a week or whatever, and it isn't for you, because then you've got that situation. What do? Do you either like just sit there and you know, try and get through it, or do you say, look, do you know what, I want to head back, particularly if you're only here for you know, maybe you're here for 3 weeks or a month and you're just doing the, okay, yeah, let's go see your family kind of thing. It's only a few days, and you might think, actually, I'm wasting my time here. So, you know, try and get a bit more information, try and connect on social media platforms like Facebook and that, and ask people, look for groups, see if you can find a group on Facebook that's relevant to the area you're going to, or going to other chat rooms that are Pattaya based and ask the question, guys, has anyone ever been to this village? Never say never. You know, you're not going to be the first person to ever go to a village, unlikely. So, you know, you might find other like-minded people that have done this and can say to you, hey mate, listen, this is what to expect. Okay, next question. Where do I see Thailand in 10 years time? I think Thailand as a country will continue on its pathway. I don't think that will change. I think it will always be a tourist destination because it's very easy to contain Thailand as a name and base it on the Pattaya experience. You know, I've been very lucky. I've traveled all around here. There are some incredibly beautiful places a million miles away from what you get here. Of course, we've got the areas, you know, you've got your Bangkok, you've got your Phuket, you know, you've got Pattaya, you know, there's areas up in Khon Kaen, in Udon Thani, you know, don't think it's just limited to here with this kind of environment, because it's not. But when I go back home to the villages and we go around the big lakes and we sit there and we have Thai food and, you know, it's a beautiful day and there's not a single bar or restaurant that's these kind of restaurants here, it really is a beautiful experience, and I highly recommend it. I know in the last question I said be careful what to expect, but I still recommend you travel. Really go and have a look around. And guys, if you've been traveling, you know, where would you recommend away from Pattaya if you are going to go off and have a jolly? Where do I see Thailand? I think Thailand as a country will be no real problems. I think it will just continue as it has done. Where do I see Pattaya? That's a very good question. It's a different question, and I would say there are definitely going to be changes ahead. I think, you know, let's not start bringing it back into the same old conversation again, but there are going to be changes ahead. Look at the video I did yesterday. Look at all these developments, not necessarily the bars, but look at the big developments, you know, the aeroplane, the hotels. You know, I didn't even go and touch up on the new area up by the third road, the big new area on Soik site. You know, there's a lot going on here. So I think Pattaya is going to change. I do believe it's going to change for the better. And I still think that the nightlife will still be as dominant, just move. But let's not go back into that. My Lord, we've thrashed that one to death. Next question. Great question. What do you do if when you get back to your hotel, you find that your accompaniment for the evening is not quite as enthusiastic or energetic as you were hoping for? The answer to that question is really, really very simple. And that is, make sure you prepare before you go down that road. And you might be thinking, what the hell is he going on about prepare? By that, what I mean is this. If you walk into a bar, and I know right now it's not appropriate, but let's just go through the paces. Let's say that it is, and you're all back here and we're having fun. So you go into a bar, you sit down, you find, oh, you know, you look at a girl, think, wow, she's pretty, and you make eye contact, and she comes over, she sits down, she has a drink with you. You've got to start doing your what's the word I'm looking for? Not due diligence. I suppose you could call it that. No, that's a terrible description. You've got to start looking at how you guys are interacting. If she just sits there like that, you know, come on, let's be straight with each other. It's not rocket science that clearly she's not into you. On the other side of the coin, if she's climbing over you like you're a child's climbing frame and she's having fun, well, then that's a great indication things are going to perhaps go well when, you know, you move on later on. But, you know, guys that come here and just buy like one drink and then expect to, you know, have the time of their life, in all fairness, I think that's a little bit unrealistic. And I'm only being honest. What I suggest you do, excuse me, what I suggest you do first is actually spend some time with that person. Buy her 2 or 3 drinks, 4 drinks, whatever, you know, or even just go and meet her once and then go back another day. And just get the balance right, because you will soon find, you know, if she's like got a hand on your leg or she's playing or she's touching you, you know what all the signs are like. You know, if that kind of interaction's happening, well, then the chances are you're going to have a good time. If, however, you decide that you don't want to go down that route and you pay your bar fine and you go back and things aren't progressing as perhaps you want them to, that really is a real shit sandwich for me to answer. And I'll tell you why, because I've got to be really honestly careful how I speak about this. Me personally, if things weren't going correctly and they weren't really working out, I'd say, do you know what? I really think it's better I just give you your money, and how about we just say, you know, it was what it was, but it wasn't for us, and let her go. I really feel uncomfortable when I say, you know, maybe people would just think, well, I'll just, you know, have a starfish experience and carry on. Because I don't really, personally myself, when I was out there doing this kind of stuff, I wouldn't do that, because I would take the time to get to know the girl first. What I would suggest you definitely don't do is get a bit excited or a bit angry or, you know, animated and start causing a scene. Oh, I paid you, you know, this is... Don't go doing that, because that could end you up in a world of trouble. It really could. Don't forget, You know, she's only going to walk out the door. There's Thai security, the Thai police. You know, it could be a complete mess for you. So I would say, rather than get yourself into that position, why not try to stop that happening in the first place and just interact a lot more in the comfort of her bar or club or wherever it is you are, and just see and feel, is there a connection there that you think, do you know what, let's go and take this further? Because if you don't, and you just go in there in a bit of a cold-hearted stance, well, then you could end up with egg on your face. And if you kick off, you could end up in a world of trouble. My best advice is, if things do go pear-shaped, just say, look, don't worry about it, here's your money. Yes, pay her. Here's your money, see you later. Now, you might disagree with me, guys. You know, that's the beauty of this channel. You can agree or disagree, but that's how I personally think you should deal with a situation. Rightly or wrongly, okay, there's your money, thank you very much. You know, take one for the team. It was one of those days. It happens. Next question. What do I miss most from home living here for 10 years? So I'm going to exclude my family out of this, and I'm going to answer this as truthfully as I possibly can, and the answer is nothing. And I'll tell you why. So when I was back in England, I worked my nuts off. I worked so hard. I begrudged bitterly giving the government 40% plus of my money to their tax schemes. So that used to hurt. You know, people, I remember when I first got into the higher rate tax bracket, I thought I'd done well, and I was actually worse off for about 2 years. So anyway, you know, so I don't miss the taxation side of things. I don't miss all of that. I really don't. I'm just being honest, guys. I don't miss that. I don't miss what I would call conformity, in terms of you go to work Monday to Friday. Friday night's your night out with the boys, or Saturday night. Sunday's your night at home, feet up. You got to go back to work tomorrow. I don't miss that. You know, that sort of like system that we're so in, you know, we're just conditioned. That kind of system for me didn't really work for me. I don't miss that. Here, every day is a Saturday night, and what a fantastic environment it is. But that's a problem, because then it's down to you to control how you deal with these 7 Saturdays every week, because you can go the opposite side and get yourself in a bit of a tizwas where, you know, you're doing too much of that, etc., and, you know, maybe that's disappearing rapidly, and you know, you don't know what to do, etc., etc. So I don't miss England in terms of the taxation that I had to deal with. I don't miss England in form of the conformity, oh, this is the normal and dare you break the normal. You know, people come out here, I love it. People see these old age pensioners that they call them, these old people. Oh, look at him going to Thailand, he's a dirty pervert. Hang on, he's sitting in a working man's club with his pint of Guinness, with his meat drawer on a Sunday, hoping to win a leg of lamb. I mean, seriously, is that what life is all about, just to please people that want to cast judgments? Man. So I don't miss any of that. I don't miss the food. In fact, the food out here for me is much better, because I love spicy food, so that suits me. I only really eat Thai food. I don't miss the weather, because the weather in England is cold, as we know. I don't miss the cold, actually. You know, the first couple of years it was hard to get acclimatized here. It was very hot, but then like everything, the more you get used to it, eventually it becomes normal. So for me, you know, an evening here is like, now it's like, what's the time now, like 5 o'clock at night, 5:30 at night. It's nice and cool, so I'm happy with that. So what do I really miss? Not a lot. Guys, if you've been living here a while, you know, what do you miss back home? Is there anything you really miss apart from your family? Obviously the family has to be a given, but, you know, is there anything about living out here long term that you look back about and you think to yourself, man, I miss that? You know, for me, not really, to be honest. Not really. Only my mum and my son. The rest of it I don't really miss. That's me being brutally truthful. Last question. Why did I start a YouTube channel? Do I have any regrets? And is there any advice I can give to someone starting a YouTube channel? Holy jamoli, what a question that is. So without boring you to death, I already had the YouTube channel. It's been going some years now, but I'd left it alone because I'd fell out with business partners over here, shock horror, and I decided it wasn't for me, and I just wanted to can everything and sit back and do my own thing. And I went off and did my photography and marketing, and I was doing all that kind of stuff and loving it. Then I stumbled back across access to my YouTube channel, and I was like, oh wow. So I just had a play around. I thought, well, let's just throw a couple of videos out and just see what happens. You know, it was literally just see what happens. And it just knocked the socks off me, because all of a sudden I thought, wow, you know, I got some views there. That was interesting. I got people saying, oh, I really enjoyed that. So it was clearly evident to me at the time when I started really pushing the YouTube, which was about 14 months ago now, maybe a bit more, 15 months. It was really evident that for whatever reason, the YouTube seemed to be working. So I just carried on with it, and I thought, well, let's just push this a little bit. Let's just see how far I can push the boundaries. And you know, it's mental. I was getting like 50 to 100, sometimes 150 new subscribers every day, which was amazing. You know, it's just mind-blowing that people would subscribe to the channel. And it kind of gives you that lift, it gives you that boost. You think, oh, well, I must be doing something right then if people want to subscribe. So then it was just a case of finding content, which right now, I'm not lying to you guys, you know, it's bloody difficult. It really is, because so many places are closed. So I'm doing the very best I can. And yes, of course, some of this is repetitive BS. Of course it is, because I'm left with very little options. But what I do is I work hard at what I do, and hopefully that shows in what the videos are, etc., etc. So I guess really, why did I start? More out of curiosity. Why have I kept it going? Because I'm absolutely blown away and amazed by how well it's gone. So that's really how Buzzing Pattaya YouTube came about. Do I have any regrets? I think the only regret I have is I've gone from being like this person that's just got, you know, nothing to do with anybody, it's just me, I just do my own thing, to now, you know, I don't have regrets as such, only in terms of I'm now putting myself out there in the public eye, and I have to do that. I appreciate that, but it's just the peripheral damage that comes with that. You know, I absolutely love it when people come up and say, oh, hi Trev, how you doing, mate? I watch your channel. I'm not a big-headed person. I find it quite humbling that people, I'm like, oh, hi, how you doing? You know, I'm always polite to people. I'm always nice. I always smile. I don't expect it. And if you said to me, would you rather spend the rest of this YouTube channel going out doing your stuff, but nobody ever came up and said hello to me, or would you rather be surrounded by hundreds of people saying, hey Trev, how are you, how are you? I'd go the first route. I'm being honest. That doesn't mean to say that I don't like saying hello to people. I love meeting people, and when we have the Buzzing bar up and running, I expect to see lots of people, and I really genuinely will be happy to see you. But I'm just a kind of quiet guy, and I guess I don't really want to add fuel to their fire, but you know the situation about the idiots I'm talking about. I find it flattering, to be honest, that these people have got such sad lives that they have to dedicate any part of their day to me. Unbelievable. You know, they sit there and they'll send me these messages, and oh man, it's just sad that they have got nothing better to do with their time than just troll me. I've now made the conscious, it's been funny actually, the last couple of weeks it's niggled me now, but now I've got over it. Now I'm just like, right, so first and foremost, anyone that comes in and dumps that kind of stuff on me, I'll block you instantly, and secondly, I'm just going to ignore them. So we'll keep going, we'll just dismiss them, because they're not worth, you know, I've scraped better things off the bottom of my shoe than what they are. So regrets, no, in terms of what we're doing. Just really it's being more in the public eye that I wasn't really expecting. To be honest with you, I didn't expect the channel to even, you know, to get off the ground, to be fair. In terms of advice, and I'm not really in a position to give people advice, because who the hell am I? I'm just a guy that's got a few subscribers. I've been doing it a little while, you know, 5 minutes. What I would say though is to people out there that are looking to start a YouTube channel, the only thing I can say to you is this: be 150% certain what your channel is about and stick to it. I do see a few channels out there where people just, you know, they might sit there and just do a live stream and expect it to happen and not do any other content. That doesn't work, in my opinion. They kind of like wander around and not really have any clear direction. And you know, you've got to write it down, right? What do I want out of my channel? How am I going to perform? What am I going to do for content? And where is it going to lead to? Once you've got all those nailed, then the next thing you have to do is stick at it. Of course, I've had days over the last 14 months where I've had times where I think, oh man, you know, I have to motivate myself, and you have to motivate yourself if that's what you're going to do. because this isn't an easy journey. It's certainly not a journey for people that think they can just switch a camera on and go, yep, there you go, look at me, I've got 1 million subscribers. It's hard graft. Speak to any of the YouTubers out there. It is hard graft. So, you know, my only advice is stick at it, have a plan and work hard, and the rest of it will hopefully follow for you. All right, guys, that's it for me today. If you've got any more questions you'd like to send in, please drop me an email, 247pattaya@gmail.com. I will happily answer them for you and put them on the show. I will be back in another week's time, and we'll go again with more questions. And don't forget, coming up tomorrow is our live stream at 5 a.m. Bangkok time. I look forward to seeing you guys on there. All right, guys, that's it from me. Please, as always, remember, hit the subscribe button and also the bell icon if you'd like to be notified when I bring out a new video. Please check out our members area. More and more members now are joining, and I am going to start to bring that into the Discord group. And if you haven't joined our Discord group, join it, and you'll see all the special offers and stuff that are starting to slowly return, because now we're slowly starting to look like we're going to come out of what we've been in, and hopefully things will just get better and better, and I hope to see you guys in the Buzzing Bar in the near future, whenever that may be. All right, guys, thanks very much. Take care, and wherever you are in the world, be safe.